Good morning, this is Jack from the and this is the pre-market recording for the morning of Tuesday, the 18th of August. Our disclaimer, we do this for educational purposes only. We're here to share our technical analysis with you. We hope you can take some of what we're doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. We're not here to issue trading signals. Right, let's have a look at the setup this morning. Now, obviously, we went a little higher overnight, and in terms of the overnight high, which was at 3389 pretty much, that actually, if we were to do that in RTH, would give us a new all-time high on SPX. So I'm expecting to see that retested. We do have a beautiful topping setup here, really nice. So this has gone a little low to give us good divergence, and this didn't go quite high enough. But we've got a bit of negative divergence here on ES. And a beautiful nested double top setup to take us down into the 3270 area. So it would probably go lower, but I'm mainly watching the pattern setup here at the moment. And obviously, topping's a process. You can come back and retest the high, blah, 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 blah. Okay, short term, what are we looking at here? NQ has gone and done the retest the high, as I was expecting. We have a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing here. It could be starting to fail now. And as I said, we've got a very, very nice reversal setup on ES here. So we need to bear that in mind as a distinct possibility. Could this go higher? Yes. Because basically we've got two main scenarios shaking out here. The other one is the scenario where RTY heads back into the high retest. YM heads back into the high retest because we've not seen those high retests now, and we don't absolutely have to have them. YM, I have to say, is looking rather like a triangle here. So I'm leaning towards seeing retest. There is at least some evidence that we're going to see retest. And the other thing to mention here is HG. HG has broken up now. It's a lot closer to the target than it was, but it's a nice bull flag here. And unless this turns into another bull flag, and this has taken a month to form. So I don't think that's that likely. Then we're likely to see a retest, full retest of 299.27. That target hasn't been made yet either. Although actually at the speed this has been going up overnight, it might not take that long to make it. We will see how that goes. But there are two scenarios here. One of those we could fail at any time. And it's not a bad one. And that one's looking at NQ where targets been made. We've got a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing. We've already got a daily sell signal fixed. We've got daily sell signal brewing on SPX2. I'd like to see the retest of the all-time high. We've just got to retest the overnight highs to deliver that on SPX. We do not need to make a retest of the high on ES, in my view, because really the only difference is the futures rolls, and I don't think that's really that significant in the great scheme of things. But on the other scenario, we would go higher because we would make these retests on HG, we would make the retest on RTY, we would make the retest on YM, and that would take us up to potentially that SPX resistance trend line that I'm looking at. So I'll come back to that in a minute. Anyway, DAX might retest this short-term high too, but doubtful about retesting this one. Europe really is in the toilet, and I mean, really, it's had serious economic difficulties for years, and COVID really hasn't helped. I mean, here we have a potential head and shoulders forming, and I'd bear that in mind. We could be near the top of that, near or at the top of that right shoulder now. No head and shoulders, no obvious one on ESTX, but again, much the same sort of comments otherwise. All right, let's have a look at SPX. Now, on the 60-minute chart, this is the trend line I'm looking at. Where is it exactly? I think we're probably nearing the 3420 area. That would be like 3415 on ES. We've already got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed. We've got daily negative divergence here. That's the trend line that I'm looking at here. There are a couple of higher alternatives, but that's the main one I'm looking at, and it's the best one. We've already got a daily RSI 5 sell signal brewing here. We've got a weak daily RSI 14 sell signal brewing here. This is a nice looking setup, and particularly if we could reach this trend line, that we don't have to reach that trend line, and if we just break through support, which I've got at approximately, where are we now? About 3330 area, so about 3325 on ES. Break down below that, and that is no longer a potential target. So we will see how that goes. Though NDX, we've already got a daily sell signal fix. In terms of the hourly chart, we've got no divergence on the hourly NDX yet, but you can see we've got a nice potentially nested topping setup here. It's pretty solid, and this double top. A little more than making that target would get us down to this potential asymmetric double top or head and shoulder neckline down here in the 10,300 area. It's a nice looking setup. If we have a look at Dow, Dow on the hourly chart, no current divergence, no obvious trendline resistance. Obviously, we've gone back and retested this high, and I'm wondering about a retest of the of this high here. We will see how that goes. And on IWM, hang on 1 second. Weekly. Sorry, it's just a bit difficulty seeing the tabs. It's we would have nice daily divergence on here, and I think on Dow as well. If we were to retest these shorter-term highs, we would have on 60-minute chart. I've already got a beautiful rising wedge on IWM. That really is a picture-perfect one. So this is suggesting that we're not going to head up a lot further, but there's absolutely no bar at all to retesting this high here at 159.82. And we may well see that, so we will see. But I think the obvious next target within this wedge is the wedge support, which is down in the 151 area. So we will see how that goes. Okay, other instruments, DX. DX has broken down below support, and obviously this we're either forming an alternate double bottom here, or this double bottom is not going to play out. Waiting to see which way that rolls. We will see. But it's a very nice pattern. We have got daily buy signals here. We should see a decent rally soon. I was voicing my concerns about precious metals, possibly saying that we were done to the downside for the moment. ZB, broken up, but this still looks like a bear flag forming. I'm leaning towards seeing a retest of the low. And this, although the inverse correlation with ES has not been that great lately, is suggesting that we might see some more upside on ES and SPX as well. CL, got pretty close to a retest of the high. It doesn't have to retest it. We've already got a daily sell signal fixed, but it would be improved, the setup overall, by a retest of the high. But it doesn't mean we've got to get it. NG has gone higher. We're on a weak 60-minute sell signal and watching with interest. Stan's thinking we're near the end of a wave 5 and we're about to start a bigger retracement. That wouldn't surprise me, although the closer we get to the double bottom target in the 2.8 area and the main resistance in the 2.9 area, obviously the more likely it is we're going to go directly there. We're not that close to it yet, but we are getting closer. GC, we had some, well, we had a bit of negative divergence briefly. We had a nice looking wedge here, but we're breaking up. I think we're forming an alternate trend line. That's a shame. So this was beauty. That was really nice. But, you know, hey, it's expanding higher at the moment, and if DX is breaking down, that's not surprising. SI, nice potential double top was forming here too, but at the moment it's going higher. I'm wondering about a retest of this high. Very much so at this stage, depending on what happens on DX. Now, DX, it's disappointing not to have seen this played out, but as I've been mentioning every day, this has been a very, very strong trend to the downside on DX. And sometimes they just need to keep going a while longer. And that's what it's doing here. HG, obviously, we've covered. Nice bull flag, broken up, likely to see a retest this high. Looks like it might be doing that shortly, actually. So we've seen quite a spike up in the last hour or two. USD has obviously gone over the previous highs. May or may not turn here. I've got no current negative divergence, except I do have daily sell signals, of course. GBP USD has gone higher too. USD JPY is heading back potentially towards a retest of this low. Just about, we're getting into a potential head and shoulder neckline area in the 105.2 area. USD CAD has gone lower too, is below the annual pivot. No current positive divergence. Nothing really saying this is going to reverse. Australian dollar. We've lost the negative divergence. Obviously, we're back at the highs and going slightly higher. We could be forming a smaller double bottom here, i.e. that one. Or it could be that we are just heading higher. So waiting to see. We've not got, mainly if we were going to play out that double bottom, what I really wanted to see was DX not make a new low. So I'm keeping an open mind now that it has. All right, 60-minute buy signal has reached target on NZUSD. Nice looking double bottom. If we see a sustained break over 66, then that's going to have a target in the 66.85 area. So we will see. KC. KC, back at this previous high, possible head and shoulders has formed here, may break up into a retest of this high. And if the dollar is going to be going down, obviously, I think that would probably help. I was concerned on it, on GC, that we had a potential end of the retracement setup here. And I was also concerned on KC, and this may be the retracement ending and heading back to the previous high, as it may be on precious metals. SB, bit of a retracement here, getting pretty close to rising support, which I've got in the 1285 area. CC looks a lot like a flag, an awful lot like a bull flag forming. So waiting to see if it is a bull flag, but looking at it, it probably is. Wheat has gone nicely higher. This double bottom played out. No obvious other pattern. The buy signal has reached target. No current negative divergence. Monthly pivot, obvious resistance, not too far above at 529.75. Corn has gone higher, and this setup to form an inverted head and shoulders is weakening. Have we already formed the right shoulder here? Maybe. It's kind of stumpy. I'm not calling it as a definite, but it could be that we've broken up from our IHS with a target and a retest of this high here at 363. That could be accompanied if we're going to see a significant drop on the dollar. But it could be that's going to be the background for a lot of things going higher. Soy, possible 60-minute sell signal is still brewing. Over this previous high, nothing really strong suggesting this is going to reverse. Lean live cattle, we've now got a 60-minute sell signal fixed, wondering about a retracement here, wondering about the rising support trend line here, which is in the 107.8 area. And lean hogs, heading back to the previous high, could be the second high of a double top when we get there. Okay, what questions we got today, guys? If any? All right, so here's the plan. What I would like to see today is an AM high which makes a new all-time high, and at that point we've got an inflection point. I think chances are we would see that, although we've got a nice topping set up, and in theory we could just drop from here. I'd love to see that all-time high retested though, because it might be that we were making a more significant top, because if we don't do it, I think we'll probably be back to do it. So I would love to see that done. Then we've got an inflection point there where we can either fail there or run up another 20 handles, 25 handles maybe, and then fail there. So we will see how that goes. And I'll be watching the highs today, and I'll be calling what I see. All right. Cheers, guys. My pleasure as always. I will catch you later.